Okay, good afternoon. This is Debbie Davis. It is January 19th, 2026. Okay, so we have, something, I have several different things I want to touch on, but um, just one thing that, in case you don't know, this kind of tells you a lot about Tim Walz right here, is that there's a satanic uh, plaque right at the state capitol that was put there, that they put there. At Minnesota, a satanist group installed a holiday display at the Minnesota state capitol with a phoenix and satanic symbol for Tim Walz, with Governor Walz acknowledging free speech or something like that. I mean, that should tell you a lot about Tim Walz right there. And then there's another one, in case you don't know, there's a satanic black box symbol, whatever that means, satanic monument in Belle Plaine, right out of Veterans Park in Minnesota. So that should tell you a lot more what you need to know about our politicians here in this state and why they are so dangerous, and what we're dealing with here. So so I have so I want to show. I still have this issue with my vehicle that I'm trying to figure out. Okay, so I'm still trying to do a couple things here, but I'm just to tell you, okay, this is not a normal situation. Okay, this tells you how much I've had done. Okay, this is all within the last 7 or 8 months. Okay, so I started having these lights coming on, right, and it's been ever since I went to this one mechanic, Car X. Okay, there was a state police there. Very coincidentally, after I left the Car X, I was just kind of wondering why the state police was there at the Car X. Okay, I've had lights and different sensors going on and off ever since. Okay, it has something. I believe it has something to do with these mechanics, with the some kind of a thing that the police have, like a gun or something that can affect the sensors. It's like they put something on it, and then now ever since, there's sensors that go on and off, and it seems to be able to shut off your car, like a kill switch. Okay, and I brought it into the, well, of course it's illegal. So if the police have a weapon like this, which I believe they do, well, that would be 100% illegal, and the mechanics that put whatever device on there, well, that's federal tampering of property. So I mean, clearly this is not okay what's going on here. I mean, this is me taking it into the Kia in Brooklyn Park, paid $200, got no answers at all. Okay, that was $200. Okay, we replaced the starter on 6/9/25. Here's the starter. Okay, there was this other guy had to pay $54 to try to, because more codes keep coming on and off. These sensor lights keep coming on and off. $54. Okay. Prior to that, a bigger expense was the flywheel for some reason. The plate, that was like $800 and like $1,000 total. Okay, this is all within like the last 7 months. Okay, after I went to that crooked mechanic. So that should tell you a lot about how careful you have to be with mechanics. But I mean, if it doesn't, it seems to be any mason mechanic, like they're in Cohoots. And I had a friend here the other day, get a oil change, and it was out of Valvoline, and I also had an issue with the Valvoline in Brooklyn Park. Do the same thing to me. They said, you go in just to get your oil change, and they say you have an oil leak. So they were trying to talk him into going and getting an oil leak fixed, and so it's like a racketeering operation they have, and it's their masons, and they work in Cohoots, with the police, it seems. So so he said, well, I never noticed an oil leak. And then so we've been looking at it now for the last couple days, and we don't see a single thing leaking. Okay, so this is the Valvoline, and they say the Valvoline in Brooklyn Park did the same thing to me. they want to make money, and they also, if they're tampering with your vehicle purposely to make money, that's most definitely a crime. That's criminal tampering. So, and then my friend who just had his car done, he had issues. He's my friend that's been driving me since I've had issues with my car, and then he had this big issue with his car, and then he went to this mechanic locally, and now we were driving his car yesterday, and he's got a light going off, and it freaked us out because it was a brake light, and it was really slippery yesterday. Okay, it was really slippery yesterday, and all of a sudden this brake light comes on. The one on the top there, which is the brake. The brake light. Okay, and he never had these sensors going off before. So if you have all of a sudden an issue with your brake in the middle of a winter storm, well, that could be very dangerous, couldn't it? So at this point, I consider this like borderline, attempted murder. This is extremely serious. What these mechanics seem to be able to do, and they're involved. They seem to be all involved in cahoots with each other with the Masons. Okay, and then the other thing I had happen here is I just had a unusual situation where so I bank with Navy Federal Credit Union. Okay, like a lot of other military. Okay, I just had, like I have, whatever, this particular account, I had over 200 just yesterday. Okay, I just took like 100 out cash the other day. I know, but I should have like $100 left. Okay, and it's showing today for some reason it's showing completely zero, and so I don't know. Like I have $100 just like that just went missing. So I have to call Navy Federal and find out what's going on there. Okay, there's something really weird that just happened, and the other weird thing that happened was when I was getting gas. The other day we had to drive a certain place, and for some reason the Speedy was closed, like right in the middle of the day. The Speedy was closed. The gas station that was open was BP. Okay, we were trying to put $30 in, all of a sudden in gas, and all of a sudden it stopped right at $20.41. It wouldn't let us put any more gas in. Okay, that was totally bizarre. And then so just to let you, and then there was another situation that I had with BP in 2021 as well. This is, and BP, if you don't know, it stands for British Petroleum Gas. Okay, so in Texas, when the grid went down, I was temporarily staying out of the winter in this trailer park in Texas in 2021. Okay, and I was there when the entire grid went down. Okay, and so I've never been in a situation like that, and it was, if you haven't been in a situation like that, it's scary because we couldn't even use our phone to find out what was going on. We couldn't get the news because the grid's down. But there's different things that you take for granted, like you can't even flush the toilet. There's no running water, different things like that. And so they finally ended up letting us in. And you just to pay cash if you had cash, to buy certain things at stores, and they just had to do with cash. But this was BP was the only gas station open when the grid went down in Texas. It was like they knew it was going to happen because none of the other gas stations were open. Okay, so that was a really curious thing that happened to me. In Texas. So anyway, I'm just warning. So warning for our for Navy Federal people. I don't know what is going on with my account, but I'm gonna call right now. I didn't get any kind of a fraud issue or anything, and all of a sudden I have money missing from my account. Like I had so I have money missing from my account, and that doesn't make any sense. So I'm just warning people that, okay, and you know, this, I've recently, as you know, I recently was just on Revolution Radio. I've been on their show before with Mark Gonzalez, and we were talking about multiple different things, but in particular, you know, I've just been recently talking about Kristi Noem. Okay, recently I've been talking about Kristi Noem and how dangerous she really is, and she's proving herself every day how dangerous she really is. And I've been telling people that she's been extremely dangerous the whole time she was in powerful positions in South Dakota. Okay, so anyway, in her in ICE's care, there was just today, it was in the news in Minnesota here, that another person died in the care of ICE, and all they tell you is that it's under investigation. You know, and that's, you know, it's kind of basically, and I told on this Revolution Radio, I said, look, there was a lot of red flags people told me about her, because I was friends with this lady named Laura Hubble, who was a state representative for like 8 years, and she was trying to run against her, and she was illegally taken off the ballot, and she did stuff to go after Laura Hubble even after that, and her husband mysteriously died after something he ate. You know, like he was pretty much poisoned, pretty obviously poisoned. You know, so I think this is retaliation. Personally, I think this is retaliation. Of you know, her of some kind. You know, is she Mossad? You know, because I've talked about the Mossad and having this particular banking software called Pegasus and Promise, and it relates to the whole Epstein thing. Ghislaine Maxwell's father apparently was a part of creating some kind of software called Promise, Promis, and it apparently can hack into bank accounts. We have known about this in the United States for a long time, and but yeah, I mean, I had, you know, so basically at this point I have like $100 missing, and I'm trying to call Navy Federal right now and find out what's going on. So this is also just a warning for other military who have Navy Federal. It all of a sudden just went zero overnight, like they're trying to shut down my account. I didn't ask to close my account, and I didn't get any fraud alert or anything like that. So I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to try to get a hold of them and see if I can get some kind of response. But yeah, it's like all of a sudden overnight my account went zero, like they're trying to close it, and I didn't request to close it. You know, I get my veterans money.
Thank you for your patience. A representative will be with you.
But yeah, but I mean, you know, I just, you know, I seem to, there's people that know these type of things.
Can I just have your first and last name?
Deborah Davis.